In downtown LA, hundreds of protesters have gathered really around the clock over immigration laws, these deportation laws. So protesters, local businesses started to clash with these immigration agents 4 days ago. Now we have US Marines in their hundreds on the streets of LA, along with the National Guard. And then you have Gavin Newsom threatening to sue Donald Trump, calling him unhinged. LA Times reporter Rebecca Ellis is on the ground for us right now. We're looking at aerial pictures. We've got a couple of angles of these protests. Rebecca, tell us what's going on. Is this happening just in one section of LA, and how's it disrupting the city?
Yeah, so there are raids, which are sort of the things that have started these protests going on across the county right now. But the main protests that we're seeing are focused on downtown LA and even just on a few block radius in downtown LA, around where our big federal building is and City Hall. So kind of the government buildings are where you're seeing the most action.
And that we've seen a few flare-ups, so we can see from our pictures from time to time. This is how these things go. In terms of the National Guard, US Marines, I mean, from some of the pictures we see, it looks like it's almost one for one, the number of National Guards or authorities to protest. There's a huge presence of authority right now.
Yeah, well, so what we're seeing right now, there are a lot of National Guard, but I'm actually looking at them right now. They're lined up in front of the federal buildings. Right now they've just been guarding the buildings. I'm seeing Customs and Border Patrol and the Guard. They're the ones patrolling the federal buildings, and then you have LAPD, the Sheriff's Department, the more local law enforcement, who are the ones doing crowd control and dispersing people. Those are the ones. When you saw those really crazy protests and munitions yesterday, those were the local law enforcement for the most part.
So, Rebecca, what are protesters saying to you? I mean, are these illegal immigrants themselves or immigrants themselves protesting, or are people doing it on their behalf? Because I imagine if you are or fit into that category as an illegal immigrant at the moment, if you're on the streets of LA protesting, you're doing it at huge personal risk.
Yeah, I have not spoken with anyone undocumented who's out here protesting. But again, I don't think they would tell a reporter. But yeah, I mean, the risk is so huge for anyone right now. The people who were arrested yesterday, I believe they got charged federally. So the stakes are really high for everyone. So if you're undocumented, the stakes would be unimaginably high. So for the most part, it's a lot of activists, a lot of everyday people who are enraged by the raids we've seen in the county, and have just come out to protest on their behalf.
Well, Rebecca, we had an Australian journalist shot by a rubber bullet yesterday. This was in broad daylight in the afternoon. Stay safe out there. Is that something that you've seen in your time reporting for the LA Times, for a journalist to be targeted like that? If they were targeted, we hope it's a mistake.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen journalists targeted. What I have seen is I don't know if I want to call it indiscriminate use of munitions, but munitions fired at a crowd, not a specific person who threw a bottle, just sort of at the crowd. And so I had a colleague that was shot with I think it was a rubber bullet yesterday. There was another journalist I know who had to go to the hospital. So I mean, it is dangerous out here. They're firing into crowds. I have seen journalists and a bunch of protesters getting hit.
Yeah, it's a dangerous profession. Rebecca, stay safe. We'll see you soon. Thanks for the update. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much.